Hi guys, welcome back. Today I've got another handheld to look over. This is the R36H. This is essentially the horizontal version of our old pal, the R36S. So let's see how it does. The R36S is a solid system. Other attempts in the budget range have pretty much fallen short compared to this. So let's see how the R36H compares. It should basically just be the same as this, but in a horizontal form factor. And if it is, I'm pretty excited about that because this is a good system. So let's get into it. So first of all, got the box. Quite a neat little box. I have already opened this. Have had a little play around with it, but I've put everything back together to show you what we got here. So I've got the purple one with the 64 gig card inside, and you know me, I'm not bothered about the card. They could send it to me without a card and I'd be perfectly happy with that. But yeah, we got the R36H. It's the purple one in here. So we've got your standard bits on the front. It's a 3.5 inch HD IPS screen. Supports major. If anyone wants to tell me what supports major means, I think it's to do with games, but yeah. Purpose built to spark your imagination with an open source smart pocket. I'd love my pocket to be smart. I really would. Open source? Yeah, sure, why not? Open source my pocket, but I'd love my pocket to be smart. Anyway, looking around the box, we've got video game handheld game console. We haven't actually got a label here from our old pal's game console. There's no game console logo here. So here we go. Open source smart pocket, supports games, blah 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 blah. 3000 milliamp hour battery lasting 5 hours. Okay. On about, yeah, don't disassemble, blah blah blah, etc etc. It's a fairly normal box, to be honest. I've found one typing issue. There's one typo here. Device is spelled wrong here. It's spelled right above it and wrong below it. But that's not bad considering that, I've had boxes from other systems with a screen protector on the side. So, like we'll take this. This is neat and smart as far as box quality goes. Anyway, let's open it up. Put that to the side. Slip it open. We've got the system out here. USB-C cable. That looks like a decent length cable, actually. Normally we get tiny little things. That's a decent length cable. I'd still prefer a large cable, but still. Oh, that looks like it might have a kink in it, though. I'm not sure how well this particular cable is going to work, but assuming it is still functional, that's a decent length cable. We'll take that. In the rest of the box here, plastic covering, and the manual. And in the manual, hopefully we have, yes, there we go. That's what we like to see. We have a specification list there. So if I zoom in on that there for you. Yeah, so we've got a 3.5 inch IPS screen. Resolving power. Screen resolving power. Screen resolution. It's 640 by 480. We got our old pal, the RK3326 in here. 1 gig of RAM. Blah blah blah, all the usuals. Pretty standards. Yeah, pretty standard. There's nothing in there that's particularly shocking. Anyway, move all that aside. Pop it open. Here we have the R36H. Not a bad looking system, is it? It's not a bad looking system. It's quite nice in the hands. That feels very nice in the hands, to be perfectly honest with you there. More comfortable than that. More comfortable than that. So this is one up on the comfort factor here. So let's take a look around here. Here we've got on the underside, so it's got two speaker grills. There's nothing in here. I can see there is nothing in this side. If I bring it in here, look, you can see it's completely empty that side, whereas there's a speaker in this side. So it, although it gives the impression that it's stereo speakers, it's a mono speaker here. Okay, so going around, we've got your OTG port, OSTF card, headphone jack, TF2 game card, and your charging port. Nothing on that side. Nothing on that side. We swing it around here. Here we have R1 and R2, L1, L2. Now, what I like about these, can you see R2 and L2 are raised? So when you're holding it, you can feel where those buttons are very, very easily. I like that. I do like that. If we continue around the back here, we've got grip pads, and got the battery in there. And if we swing in here, you can see model R36H, and the battery is 3000 milliamp hours. There we go. Okay. On the face of it, got face buttons. They feel decent. They feel very much the same as this. They've also, if you can see through the plastic here, they're attached just like they are here. So they're sticking true to form at the moment here. We got right thumbstick, start button. Start button's very clicky. Shoulder buttons are quite clicky too, but start button's very clicky. Thumbstick clicks. Over to this side, select button very clicky. Again, shoulder button's very clicky. Oh, forgot to show you the top. At top we've got power, reset, and your volumes. Thumbstick and D-pad. D-pad feels decent. D-pad feels decent, and the thumbstick is your standard Switch style thumbstick. What I will say is this perplexes me. Why are they this way around? Why would you do that? If you look here, priority is given to the D-pad, not to the thumbstick. Priority is given to the D-pad here. Why on earth are they giving priority to the thumbstick on this? This isn't powerful enough to be aiming at things like N64, PS2, you know, Dreamcast, things like that. It's not powerful to be aiming at those. It might be able to get the odd occasional Dreamcast or N64 game, but it's not aiming at those. So this shouldn't be the priority. This should be an afterthought. This should be the priority. So I wish that these two were in different positions. So that's one thing that perplexes me about this design, and that's the main thing that I would change about this design if I had to change, if I could only pick one thing to change about this. Anyway, let's put her up. Let's see what we're dealing with. Wait for it. There we go, and we've got Arc OS. Here we go. And you can see we got a card absolutely chock-a-blocked full of commercial games. I'm pretty sure they don't have the license for all of these, but we've grown to expect this, haven't we? Sadly, we've grown to expect this. So, yeah, let's come out of there. Let's just flick through PC Engine. At least it looks like they've scraped. I spoke too soon. I spoke too soon. They haven't scraped everything. Just going through. Why have they got Super Famicom twice? That is... Huh? That absolutely confuses me. Nintendo Super Famicom. Nintendo Famicom, Nintendo Super Famicom. Can someone explain why we have two lots of Super Famicom on here? That has thrown me completely. Okay, Nintendo Ultra 64. It's not a Nintendo 64, it's the Nintendo Ultra 64 on here. Okay. Yeah, again, full of N64 games. Game Boy. Actually, that's a thought. Have they got the big hitters on here? Are they really? Yes, they don't care. They really do not care. They got lots of Mario there. They really do not care. Okay. Yep, they really, really do not care. Wow. Normally you see at least the Mario's ripped out. In that case, that also means that there's probably Pokemon in here as well. And yeah, there you go. Wow, they're asking for trouble. They are really asking for trouble here. Anyway. D-pad feels quite good. Just a shame about the position of it. This feels like a very responsive system. I like how it feels. Functionally, I like how this feels. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go away and I'm going to load up a card. Now, this has got ArcOS on it, and ArcOS is nice. ArcOS is nice. I'm not the biggest fan of this theme, although it's not I've seen worse themes. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a clean build of ArcOS, and I think probably a slightly newer build of ArcOS, onto a new card. And I'm going to then boot up what I want, and hopefully we can do a bit of an indie game showcase on here as well while testing this out. Okay, so I'll be back in a moment. Alright guys, I'm back, and I've now flashed a new SD card with ArcOS and started fresh with it. So this is the card that was inside the handheld originally, this mag key 64 gig. So we've taken that out, that can go, and now I've put a new card in with a fresh ArcOS image. There we go. Okay, so what I've done is I've actually loaded this up with homebrew games, because if you've seen any of my video before, then you'll know that I dislike the fact that these come absolutely cram-packed with commercial ROMs. I got nothing against people loading their systems up with ROMs, but what I do have a problem with is companies selling systems loaded with ROMs. Like, it's one thing to set a system up how you want, it's another thing to buy a system loaded up with thousands of games that they don't have the license for. So yeah, so what I like to showcase here is generally indie games that are homebrew builds made for old systems. So I've popped a few on here, but we're going to be focusing on Game Boy Color. We're going to go in and we're going to actually go to a game called Grimace's Birthday. You can see that there. Grimace being the McDonald's mascot, and believe it or not, this game was released in 2023 and was officially endorsed by McDonald's. It was originally released as a game in a web player, but it was built using Game Boy Studio, and I believe about 6 months later they publicly released the ROM file, then the Game Boy Color ROM file. So Grimace's Birthday, let's take a look. This position right here, this doesn't feel natural. I'm just going to turn the sound down just a touch there. You can see McDonald's. we go. So you can see this was, I'm just going to turn the sound down. Oops, that is not the sound button. Just going to turn the sound down a little bit. See, the problem I have with this is a lot of systems have volume rockers here, and these buttons are pretty much the same as the volume rockers here. There's not much difference. Like, there is a difference, but there's not much. So it's so easy to accidentally hit these instead of the volume rockers. So that is one little gripe I've got with this. Another gripe I've got is the speaker. This is not a great speaker, and it's really weird having a horizontal handheld where the sound is clearly only coming out of one side. That is the camera won't be picking that up, but my god, that is a weird experience, having the sound just coming out of here on a horizontal handheld. I didn't think I'd be phased by it, but I am. It's really weird. Anyway, let's carry on. So if we go in and start the game, you can see we got normal mode or hard mode. I'm going to go normal. So it's Grimace's birthday, and he's throwing the party of the year at McDonald's. But he needs to round up Birdie, Hamburglar, and the McNugget buddies before it's time to blow his candles out. I have to say, for a Game Boy Color game, look at the animation on this. This is fantastic. Look at the pixel work on this. You can see that the pixel work on this game is fantastic. This game was made in, I think it was like, don't quote me on this, but I think it was like 2 to 3 weeks they made this game in. It was a ridiculously short time frame that they made this. Look at the work on this. Look at the pixel work on it. I'll bring it a bit closer. You can see this is, for a Game Boy Color game, this is fantastic looking. Oops. Never said I was good at the game. There you go, you've got grinding. And you can do kick flips as well. Oh, I completely missed that. I want that. Yeah, there we go. This game isn't very long. I've not played it through yet, but from what I can gather, you can power through it in less than half an hour. It controls very nicely. Controls. Oops. I'm just not very good. It didn't say. Oh my god! Really? These bins, man. Don't knock over the McDonald's bins. Bad for the environment. This feels very nice. The controls on the game feel very nice. And to be honest with you, the controls on the system itself, although this is a weird placed D-pad, it still feels quite nice. I'm fighting the urge to put my thumb up here. Actually, let's play with it up here a minute. Let's see what it does. The sprite work in this is fantastic. Right. That feels pretty decent, actually. Not as natural as a control pad for this, but is there anything down low this way? No. Oh. No, I'm not good at this game. I'm not good at this game at all. Okay. Let's quit on that. This This game is absolutely fantastic. Like, it's only a quick little time waster, but the quality is absolutely brilliant. I seriously recommend. I'll include a link in the description for people to be able to download this yourselves to try it. It is a fantastic game. What I will do, actually, I will roll credits on this just because the people here deserve to get a bit of a, you know, a mention here. So yeah, I'm just going to roll credits on that game there just so you can see who's run it. But while we're doing that, let's talk about this device. This is actually a pretty good device, guys. Like, for the price, I paid somewhere between 20 and 25 pounds for this. And that is very good quality. That is very good value for money. The screen's quite nice. It's pretty much the same as what's on this, which is what it's based off. You can tell it's basically this. It's basically this in a different form factor. I mean, what else can you say? It's done very nicely. It feels nice in the hands. These shoulder buttons are quite nice, actually. For I've played handhelds like this where the shoulder buttons are all in line and all the, you know, not raised or anything like that. And yeah, like, this is actually very well thought out. Let's exit that. It's very well thought out. It's responsive. The controls feel solid. The controls feel really solid. My biggest gripes, I wish these two were switched around position-wise. Like, this isn't a bad D-pad. It's a pretty ordinary D-pad. Like, it's nothing special, but it gets the job done. It's a pretty ordinary feeling D-pad. But I wish these were swapped around. I wish there was priority given to this D-pad rather than priority given to the thumbstick, because the games that you're going to be playing on this are D-pad centric. This is not a device for focusing on the likes of Dreamcast and PSP and N64 and what have you. Some of those will play on this. Some. So your mileage will vary as to what out of the higher end things will work on this system. I would not buy this for anything higher than PS1, especially if you have specific games in mind. That being said, you will get some level of, you know, compatibility with N64, PSP, DS, Dreamcast, that kind of thing, but you won't get the whole library working with it. So yeah, I've said about this here. Another thing that really does throw me is this speaker. The fact that there's a speaker just in this side here. If you're going to have a mono speakers on here work because they're pointing straight at you, everything's all together. Even if it was down in the corner, it would still work because it's pretty much everything's all together. A mono speaker on a system like this, it just feels weird. It just feels really weird having the sound only coming out of here when you'd expect it to come in. And the fact that they've put a speaker grill in without putting a speaker in, it throws you off even more. I wish they'd just put another speaker in there. Like, they've got the physical space. They've got the space in the shell to put one. They've just decided not to. Which, that is a shame. That really is a shame. But it is what we've got here. The grips on the back feel quite nice. Grips on the back do feel quite nice. It's nice in the hands. Now, it's not got Wi-Fi built in, as most of the devices in this price range don't. Some do. So, you know, like, do your research if you want a device that has built-in Wi-Fi. The OTG port, that side, I have tried to get a Wi-Fi dongle to work, but unfortunately it did not work with my Wi-Fi dongle. And actually the same goes for this, in that the Wi-Fi dongle that I have didn't work with this. So it might just be the dongle that I have, but I cannot confirm working Wi-Fi with a dongle on this. Okay. One other thing on here is, can you see this light here? I don't know if that's light bleed from the screen or if there's a tiny LED in there or what, but you can see that there's light coming through just in a little dot above the SD card, which is distracting and again weird. There's some weird things about this system. There are some weird things about this system, and actually, if you look, I don't know how well you can see it here, but if you look at the top here, this looks like there was a spot intended for another port, which on a more powerful device you could get, you know, on a different chipset you could get a HDMI out, but you aren't going to get that with this. So it's interesting that's there. Yeah, interesting device, generally nice device. As to which one I prefer of these two, I think I prefer this one. I actually think I prefer this one, but there's not much in it. It's such a small margin in it. It's purely a comfort factor with how I'm holding it. Performance-wise, they're identical. Software-wise, they're identical. You know, these are under the hood near enough identical devices. So if it comes down to which one is best, that is completely dependent on whether you like vertical or horizontal handhelds. Anyway, thanks very much for your time, guys. If you can all like, comment and subscribe, it really does help out, and I will see you soon.